Here we go. On today's Skies Volley podcast, the Cubs and the White Sox are both 4-5, which may be hard to believe considering the vibes on both sides of town right now are completely different. The Bulls had a historic performance out of Zach LaVine the other night in a losing effort. Hopefully bounce back tonight. Start here in about, I think, less than an hour. The Blackhawks continue to grind. And thankfully, Tommy, there's one thing that we do have. The Bears didn't find a way to ruin our week for once. So they finally learned to shut the hell up. So, as always, this Guys Falling podcast brought to you by OnTapSportsNet.com. Head on over, get your Chicago sports needs. We are now brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook as well. Illinois bettors can use promo code ONTAP at registration to receive a first deposit match up to $250. That's free money to bet with. Free. And I know you can't just sign up on the app and start betting. You have to go to Rosemont, show your ID, blah, blah, blah. I understand. It sucks. I truly understand that. But again, it's free money. So if you want some free money to gamble with, head on over and do that. So with that said, some other things. Go leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us. If you're out on Apple Podcasts, especially, you can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap. You can follow Tommy at official_T Long. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Skies Falling Pod and the Skies Falling Pod on Instagram. I think I got it all set up and ready to go. So, Sir Thomas Oliver Long.
Well, while the Bears didn't find a way to ruin our week, it's safe to say the Cubs ruined our weekend. Three runs the last two games against the Pirates. I don't feel great. I don't feel good at all. And also, I guess, RIP and peace to our producer.
RIP, Sean. We'll get into that here in a hot second.
All right. Let's just get this shit started.
And welcome into the Skies Falling Podcast, episode 83. Tommy, welcome. Josh going to join us here in a little bit to talk White Sox and Cubs. You mentioned Sean in the intro, RIP and peace, but he's not actually dead. But he's not here.
He's on the IL.
He's on the IL. Unfortunately, our guy got COVID, I think, this week.
Which, honestly, surprised me because over the entire summer and fall, every other episode Sean would be like, I have COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't get tested, but I have COVID. What do you mean? He's yeah, I just don't feel good. I have COVID.
Right.
And now he actually has COVID. And then so far he said it's not been too bad. Just kind of feels a little crappy, but he texted me and assured me, said hope back up and ready to roll here next week or soon after. So that's good. Wish him nothing but the best. I know that kind of heading into the unknown when you get that sickness, but see what happens.
Right.
Hopefully be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a reminder, even though, people are getting vaccinated, people are, out and about. Me and you were just at the Cubs Brewers game on Monday. Despite all of that, we are still kind of in a pandemic. So things, I think I guess this news that he told us this week kind of had me step back a little bit and remember hey, the world's still kind of semi-burning at least. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, man, with that said, let's give Sean a show. I don't know if he's watching. I told him to watch because I told him we're going live. So hopefully, if he's not watching now, hopefully he watches here soon. Also, it's going to be out in a podcast form eventually as well. So if you can't stick around make sure to go subscribe to us. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we are literally everywhere. All you got to do is go to our social platforms. You'll see the link. So, with that said, I kind of want to start with the Bulls today. And the reason being, Tommy, is the Bulls actually like legit pissed me off the other day. They also got a game coming up here in the next, I want to say hour. I think they play at 7:30. It's either 7 or 7:30.
Yeah,
25 as we record. But
so let me ask you, Cody, because there are two games where I think you've been angry at them in the sense that like we being the Bulls should be a good team, and we lost.
Yeah.
Playing piss poor basketball. And I think those two games, at least from my perspective of watching you as a Bulls fan, was this past game against the Hawks.
Yep.
And then the game against the Phoenix Suns, both games in which we had leads through 3 quarters and lost it in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot about the Suns game, but yeah, that game pissed me off too, just because like we played so well against an actually really good team. Mm-hmm. And the Hawks are a good team too. They're not as good as the Suns, but they are a good team. But the Bulls led by double digits against the Hawks for most of the game, and then on top of that, Zach LaVine 39 points in the first half, like historic first half. I think they said it was Klay Thompson and one other player who's ever put up a first half similar to like that.
I think it was Michael.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was MJ, but so you had that and then the Bulls just shit their pants in the 4th quarter. And it was just like I don't know if you heard this stat, but apparently the Bulls haven't won 4 games in a row since like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, not since Zach's been here.
Yeah. Zach LaVine has never won 4 games in a row, apparently.
In his career.
His career. Quite literally, in his entire career, he's never won 4 games in a row. That's, like, mind-blowing, honestly.
Especially being in the Eastern Conference, which I guess, we've been a bottom dweller for a while, but...
Right.
Fuck, dude.
It was just, like, it's just bad. Like, he's been on some bad teams. And the Bulls... Granted, remember we talked Bulls last week, and we are just kind of like, man, we have a one since this trade hit. I believe I said something along the lines of like we just need a win to get over the hump, to get these guys feeling good. And then we kind of joked, well, they got the Nets next, but thankfully, I think James Harden and Kevin Durant were both out of that game. It was just Kyrie. The Bulls won that game pretty easily, and then they won their next 2 games against both teams, or 2 teams that also had other guys out. The Pacers, they're kind of in the same kind of similar situation the Bulls are this year. They're pretty mediocre at best. So I get maybe I don't remember if they had any guys out. But anyway, then they go up and play the Hawks, who I just feel like that's a team that I feel like, especially with the Bulls now with Vooch and with the way that the Bulls did things at the deadline and the way that they played the last couple games, I was like, they should go into Atlanta and win that game, especially after getting whipped by them by 30 at the beginning of the year,
Yeah, and just watching the game like in more detail, 4th quarter, you saw a lot of it was a 2-man show. It was pick and roll and then pick and pop with them and what's that? Danilo Gallinari.
Gallinari, yeah.
So if it wasn't a pick and roll where Trey would just step back and hit a jumper, he'd drive to the hoop, kick it out to Danilo, who was, he hit 3 or 4 threes from way beyond the arc at the top of the key, which, that just broke our backs at the end of the game. But we need an actual point guard. We need a point guard. Kobe, you see it where, he had a couple shots he probably should have hit, and there's no more relying on Lowry because he's not any good. 5 points and 5 rebounds. Like, you're supposed to be a stretch 4 and you're 7 feet tall. Jesus fucking Christ. Get some nuts and go get a board, dude. Or at least do your job and get buckets. Not doing that either. But Kobe, he's not good on the pick and roll anymore. Like, he's just not seeing the floor. Sato,
I thought he's played pretty well,
but he shouldn't be a starter though. You know what I mean? Like, he is a guy who can solidify the 6 through 10 spot on your team.
Right. I like him starting over Kobe White for sure on this team at least.
right
this
for this team, but it's like
Yeah.
he'd be perfect if we had
Lonzo Ball.
Fordham at the point, but Lonzo, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Or fuck, even like a Kyle Lowry, if he would have been an option. You know, someone who can pat like. Oh man, it's tough because this. What worries me is, I mean, if it's satisfactory to get like that 9th spot, I mean, that's not. I don't really want that, to be honest. But we're looking at being 1 or 2 games out, and then we're gonna have to look back through the games we should have won, the 2 or 3 games that we blew in the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
and you're gonna circle those and be like, "Fuck! If we would have just played better basketball, we'd be competing in the playoffs."
Right. No, I mean, there's a lot of games the Bulls have blown this year, no doubt. But I agree with you. We definitely need a point guard, and I think that's going to be the front office's like number one like thing they're going to try and hammer out this offseason, whether it's in the draft or go get a free agent. I would prefer someone in free agency, that way you don't have to like grow someone. But yeah, even without like an established point guard, though, I still feel like this team is good enough to like at least get into the playoffs and win a game or two. So all that said,
and I'm gonna keep picking on Lowry because he's pissing me off. Because everyone loved Lowry, and everyone has always had Lowry's back when it came to the coaches aren't putting him in a position to be successful. Well, guess what? We got a pretty damn good coach now, and Lowry ain't playing well.
Yeah, he did not play well in that 4th quarter. I honestly couldn't believe that Donovan actually left him and Kobe in as long as he did in that 4th quarter. I was kind of like, why not bring in someone else? I don't even know who I don't remember who was in.
You can go small against the Hawks. They go small. Their whole roster is small. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But you're seeing a lot of video and stats come out now on Marko Simonovic, who was the 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
He's putting up like, yeah, he's balling out. Now, I don't know if, they may, with him, Lowry leaving, that may push up Marco's timeline to next year. If somehow they retain Lowry or whatever, and they push him back to 2022, 2023, whatever. But the way he's balling right now, I think he may be ready. I don't know what kind of league that is in Europe or whatever he's in. Like, I don't know, like the level, you know what I mean? But it may be time to say thank you for your service and goodbye to Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's so hard to believe considering, like, I don't know, like not even a year ago, we were like, we just need someone around this guy.
Like, we went from talking about like mini Dirk to, okay, it's struggling, but he's just not playing the brand of basketball that suits him best. And now it's like, we got a new guy in there. Let's see where he turns around. And he's actually just gotten worse.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. As far as tonight, they got the Timberwolves tonight. I already bet the Bulls tonight. Even I think they're -4. I took them -4 because I think they're going to bounce back. Timberwolves are really bad despite having a lot of really fucking good talent on their team. Plus, Zach LaVine revenge game possibly. So maybe follow up with another 50 piece. I don't know.
You think A-Rod's going to be at the game?
That would be interesting. I thought he's not taking over till like 2023 though.
Oh, is that what it is?
I didn't think it was like a right away thing. I thought it was like in a year or two. I don't. Someone, if you're listening, watching, whatever, tell us in the comments. Anyway, yeah, they. I think it's a good bounce back position with them. And I actually learned about the playoffs and how it works. You remember, like, I feel like for the last 3 months, we've been talking about how's the playoffs work.
Yeah, I asked, you give an answer, you're like, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
All right, you got? I'm going to tell you right now. It's in this text thread that I have with some guys, and they told me last night. And I got to get it to load up. Shit. Here we go. All right, so it's a play-in tournament. So the 9th place team and the 10th place team will play, and whoever wins moves on and will play the winner of the 7th place and 8th place team. And whoever plays between the 7th and 8th place, the winner goes to the 7th seed, and the loser goes on to play either the 9th or the 10th place team. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
The way I'm explaining? Okay.
Yep.
So, and then whoever wins that game gets the 8th seed.
So it's basically you're slotted 7, 8, 9, and 10. Two of you are eliminated from the playoffs, and then the second game is playing for seeding.
Yes, basically, yes.
Okay.
And the 7th and 8th place game, like whoever is in the 7th and 8th place spot, whoever wins that game goes to the 7th seed. So if you're in that position, you want to win that game. That way you can just automatically get put in there and you not have to play another game. So obviously 9th and 10th place seed is kind of like I mean, it's a spot the Bulls might most likely be in considering the standings, but they still have a lot of games to play. They still have till like May to play some games. So we'll see what happens. You know, the East, it's all so bunched up and everything. So I think, you know, we need to see some growth still out of some guys. I mean, you know, how do you think Patrick Williams has been playing since the trade?
I mean, okay. I mean, not
right. Like to me, it's like you're seeing some glimpses of like what him, Levine, and Vooch could look like in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's just seemingly taken on a lesser role since Vooch has got here, which may be better for his development. You know, not as much pressure on a 19-year-old kid to be the number 2 option on a team, but I think it'll only help him taking on a smaller role, shrinking his minutes a little bit, learning from probably not as much Vucevic, but maybe more like a Thad Young, which kind of is probably closer to what he'd be in the NBA in his long term. But I'm not upset with his play. I don't think. I mean, his plus minus has been okay. So he's playing good D, but it's just, you know, if he learns how to play off the ball more, and then obviously like stretch the floor, then we'd be looking at a Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But Kawhi wasn't Kawhi till like year 4, so we got time.
Right. Okay. Well, again, yeah, I was mad about that game, but we haven't even really talked about the 50-point game. Did you catch the first half?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what were you thinking? Because I was sitting there just every single time you hit one, I was like, this is going to be something special. I honestly thought he was going to go for 60.
You know, it was almost like if you watch like Reggie Miller highlights where someone is just unconscious, like you can have 2 guys closing out on him, and as long as he's able to get the ball in the air, it's going in, and that's what that was. I mean, he was coming off screens and curls, and just as soon as he got the ball off balance, jumping in the air to get some space.
Yeah,
and it was just banging. Like it was just splash, 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 and I don't know, it was special to see. And then you could tell, like in the third quarter, they were trying to force it more. You know what I mean? Like guys were passing the ball where they would normally take shots to get the ball to Zach so he could take that jumper. And it was just you're just throwing up bricks. I think it was probably more exhaustion because it was the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
But you could tell in the fourth quarter he was frustrated because the same shots he was taking in the first half weren't going down, and the lead kind of diminished into a deficit, and it just created anarchy in the offense, and it was just very unclean. But still very cool to see. I mean, it's especially being a Bulls fan, we haven't had a player that's been able to do that since like Ben Gordon maybe. When
Jimmy Butler had like a 50-point game,
yeah.
But I mean, no one I feel like Ben Gordon is a good comparison because like except for Ben Gordon was so much more streaky. Obviously, Zach LaVine's a much better player than Ben Gordon, but yeah,
it was like when Ben Gordon got hot, it was like you're keeping the TV on because it was when he's throwing shit up from like 38 feet away, and it's like what the fuck. Which I mean, like Derrick Rose was never a streaky scorer. He was always very consistent and played like, you know, that's what he was, and was more of a clutch guy too. But
Very clutch guy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, that's just cool. It'd be nice if
we could have won.
you could have won, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm worried about, like, I'm not worried about Vucevic, but like, I feel like if we what we gave up and what he's being paid and the hype around him coming from Orlando, you gotta start. I mean, yeah, like it's new and you're trying to like gel in the offense with the rest of the team, but at the end of the day, it's you got to start producing big time. Like 12 and 12 isn't going to do it. You know, I mean, you got to be consistently putting up 20 to 25 points and 15 to 20 rebounds and 5 to 10 assists, because that's what you're doing in Orlando. You got to start doing it in Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, we may not see that till next year, but
I don't have his stats in front of me, but I feel like he's been putting up 20 points every single night he's been with the Bulls.
He's putting up a little under 18 points a game. But a lot of that's like still you can tell where guys just aren't getting the ball off the pick and pop. That was a lot early, which we talked about. Yeah. But it's at the end, really the biggest thing at the end of the day is fucking getting wins. That's at the end of the day, that's the only thing that fucking matters. Right. Like, I don't care. Like,
for sure. No, I completely agree, man. We'll see what happens this week. I still think they're trending up. So hopefully when you're listening to this on the podcast on Monday, the Bulls will be winners of 4 of their last 5, I think is what it would be. So with that said, let's switch to the ice a little bit. So that trade, what were your thoughts? Do you want me to read it for you? Like the trade that happened this week?
Yeah.
Okay, so they Brad Morrison for Vinny, and I can't pronounce his name. Everyone knows that I'm not the hockey guy.
Hinostroza.
Hinostroza. Yeah, so they exchanged those guys earlier this week, and then the Blackhawks acquired Brett Connolly, Riley Stillman, and Henrik Borstrom, and a 2021 7th-round pick in exchange for Lucas Wallmark and Lucas Carlson going to the Panthers.
What do I think about the trade? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, as a guy, actually, either that or just like kind of tell me like the Blackhawks direction with it, because obviously, if you're OG of the show, you know that I'm not the biggest hockey guy. So, when I heard the news, I really didn't know how to react. So, you tell me.
Nothing bad about the trade. I think it put us in a position to. I mean, it didn't increase our ability to win by an exorbitant amount. I think it creates more depth between the second and third line, which is, always good. But it makes us a better team, I think, for this year, and it gives us a little bit of creativity with the cap space that we'll have going into next season. But I think the actual value of the trade will be foreseen over the next 6 weeks. Kind of similar to the Bulls, you know what I mean? Just not as a high volume of trade, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know a whole lot about what we got in this guy, but what I've read online, it's like you got a dude. You know what I mean? You got a dude, and he's gonna. I think if he can help us win 3 more games this year than what we would have otherwise lost. That's a good trade, and I think it may end up carrying us. Like, we're going to get in the playoffs. I think we'll limp there at this point now with the roster we got on hand, assuming everyone stays healthy, and with our remaining schedule. So I think like a thumbs up. I'm not like splooging over myself over it. You know what I mean? Like the Vucevic trade, it's not gonna get me up, but overall good. Overall good. But we'll see.
Good.
We'll see. It's gonna be. I don't know. I think Colleton's gonna take it as chalk. He's not gonna do anything. He's not gonna change anything on the depth chart or anything like that too extensively. But I think if he can plug him in the right spots, then we're gonna see higher, more equity with the puck on the ice. That's what I think we'll see.
Okay. I mean, that's a good explanation for someone like me who doesn't really know. But How'd you? I did watch a little bit of the game the other night. They're down 2-0 to start against the Blue Jackets, then scored like 4 goals in a row. Like,
Yep.
I think that's you love to see that. You don't like to see the
Pretty
beginning against a bad team like the Blue Jackets, but hey, a win's a win, right?
kind of like that's like standard in Ohio, right? It's blowing big leads. So
Blowing big leads. Shout out Will Chase if you're listening, man. He's a big Blue Jackets guy.
But I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to see because it's like I turned the game off. I had a split screen going with some baseball, and I turned it off. And then I was just getting the tweet updates from. Was that you or the Joe?
I believe it was me. It was me.
Okay, yeah. So I got those updates, and I'm like, let's go. This should have happened a period and a half ago, but let's go.
Yeah. So the Blackhawks, they've won 2 of their last 3 now. They get the Blue Jackets one more time tomorrow.
We need to get Ron Lucci on.
Lucy? I could start calling him Lucy, but it's just loose.
Loose. That's. Wonder what his girlfriend has to say about that. So we need to get him on. I don't know what the NHL is doing as far as like playoffs go. Are they doing a bubble again? Like from what I've heard, they're doing a bubble, but like I don't freaking know. I have no idea.
Well, I talk to him every day when it comes to the Cubs, so I'll definitely ask him, see if he can come on.
when we get to Cubs talk, I'm gonna bring up like 5 reasons why he was wrong talking about contract extensions.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yep.
Anything else on the Blackhawks? Josh is actually in the stream. Like, I just haven't let him in yet.
So the big point, the big thing that we have to keep our eye on, and I've been hammering this, but we got very winnable games against the Red Wings, the Stars, and the Canes that I think we have to win those games. We can't tie. But then if we can at least come away with some sort of point against the makeup game against the Lightning and then the Panthers, I think we'll have a solid shot of getting in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think we keep talking about that, the schedule. It's kind of softened, so this is like their big shot to, really take a big step here. So
also,
they got the Blue Jackets tomorrow and then the Red Wings on Thursday. So
one other thing I want you guys to keep an eye on. This is very intricate, like visual. We're playing Florida teams, and it's going to be April and May. Watch how the players are skating on the ice, because that ice actually does get kind of slushy this time of year.
Really?
Especially like people thought it was just Lightning having to go to Tampa, or even the Coyotes in the playoffs or the Kings. How the ice is slushy and they are slower. So just keep an eye on how that affects the game, because like people like to talk about how the Hawks are fast. We're not. So if we can play a different, like our almost a Blackhawks brand of hockey, where it's kind of like keep away and then score when we need to, that actually may be to our benefit playing against these guys on the road, especially in Florida.
All right. I'll keep that in mind, man. Mm-hmm. Shall we talk some baseball?
Let's bring him in.
All right. We are now joined by our good buddy, on tap Josh Barlog. Dude, you're coming live to us from the hotel. How's it going in Detroit?
I'm coming live from the hotel. It's weird. I can't hear myself anymore. Like I have a different setup here, and I feel like I'm screaming. So I'm going to take one of these bad boys out. But I just like last time, one of the other times back in the hotel, waiting for Eminem to knock on the door and deliver a pizza. So, we're just got here, leaving tomorrow. So
yeah. Well, before we get into baseball, I have to let you know I enjoyed part of the stream you did the other night on your personal account where you were like answering questions related to being blind. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a little bit of it. Yeah. So we retweeted it on the Skies Falling Twitter account. So if you didn't see it, go check it out. And yeah, as everyone knows, I really fucked up the first time. One of the first times we had you on here consistently, so it's something we'll never forget. So I had to point that out.
Well, I appreciate you tuning in a little bit. I tried to be as insightful as possible without being too serious. So
yeah. All right, man. Well, with that said, I said in the intro, you know, both the Cubs and the Sox are both 4-5, but it still feels like significantly different on both sides of town. Last week, it was kind of bad for the White Sox, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think it's as bad now, but it's like what it was for you last week. But on the north side, the Cubs just lost 2 of 3 to the Pirates. They lost 7-1 in Saturday and Sunday. The offense is literally dead. Literally, it might literally be dead. Like we should, like it needs to be like we need an Undertaker gif here. Like I don't know what else, but like it's a complete different vibe. It feels like on the north side compared to the south side. Am I right, or are you still just kind of whatever because you're 4-5 and still early, or what? Where are you feeling right now?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I felt really good with that 6-0 win when Lance Lynn just shoved on Thursday. Today didn't feel good. Today was not a good day. Losing 4-3 sucks, especially when you go into extras. Like I'm still very iffy on the runner at second rule. Like I still think there should be one out. And that's just me. I think there should be one out and a runner on second if you're going to do it, but it is what it is. The way we lost that game hurt. Like we could have been up 9-0 the first 2 or 3 innings. Like we left 9 runners on base and by the third. So it's just losing that way sucks. Adam Eaton coming in clutch in the bottom of the 8th, though, hitting that 2-run homer, and then Liam Hendricks gives up the solo shot to Carlos Santana. I was really hoping he was going to be out of the American League Central. But, I think if you go through Sox Twitter, you'll probably see some overreactions. Like, you know how we have Overreaction Monday for the Bears? Well, you're going to have Overreaction Monday for the Sox, too, because these games, unfortunately, are going to happen. Like, it's just going to get away from you. You're not going to get the timely hit when you need it. The back end of the bullpen is going to kind of fall apart a little bit. It happens. Like losing games like this happens. And unfortunately, it's just one of those times. The good news is the pitching held up when our bats weren't until the very end. So like there's still positive notes to take away from this team. And I just want to note here too, any Leary Garcia slander will be unaccepted on my timeline. I don't know.
I see a lot of it, to be honest with you.
Everybody's like, oh, you should have DFA'd him. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're DFAing Leary. Come on.
So
while Andrew Vaughn's going over, and you're like, he's a prodigy, and you're like, okay. Right.
So you brought up the Lance Lynn game, and I want to talk about that for just a second because I don't want to make this prediction, but I'm gonna. He threw every pitch he threw except for 6 were fastballs. And if he doesn't locate, because he was on top of his game, right? And he's typically very good at that. But there's gonna be games at some point in the season, especially against the AL Central, where guys have faced him 2-3 times. You can't just get away with throwing just fastballs, man. Same story for like Garrett Crochet. You saw a little bit. He lost control of his fastball in his last outing, but he did a good job of like using his changeup. He had to pitch backwards to regain control of his fastball. He threw a little bit more changeups, which is hilarious because his changeup's 92 miles an hour. But he did that, and he was able to regain control, and he didn't throw any sliders. Do you think Lance Lynn will be able to survive in September? And I'm just going to say October because I think that's eventually where you guys will end up, being a guy who throws 97.5% fastballs.
See, I think a lot
that's a
of
good question. Also,
that is a good question, but I do think that analytically that was the best approach. against Kansas City. I don't think you would see the same situation. I don't know what his percentages were against the Angels, but that'd be something to look into.
He threw like 12 or 13 non-fastballs.
So
it was, more incrementally.
Right. Well, the thing is like, why not? Like, why change it if it's working?
All right.
So I guess to your point, like when you're in September, October, if you can locate it, it's going to be tough to hit regardless. So look, if you could throw 10 straight fastballs and you're locating them in the right spots, I don't see any reason why you can't succeed, right? But at the same time, to your point, like this would be playoff baseball. They're gonna have a game plan for you just as you have a game plan for them. So
yep.
I think he's a seasoned vet. Everybody knows. I think he'd be able to adjust no problem. And even if it was like changing speeds on his fastball.
Yep.
Like I don't know. I just feel like he's we're not talking about a 22-year-old pitcher here.
Yeah, this is what Hector. Not to compare Hector Rondon to Lance Lynn, because Jesus Christ, but
Cubs legend.
What Hector Rondon and Cody, you probably remember there were games where Hector Rondon, he would hit 99 and it'd be straight as an arrow, but that motherfucker would be like 7 feet high.
Yeah.
And then what he would do is he would use the same grip and he would slow it down to about 96, kind of to Josh's point, with a little bit of tail, a little bit of movement, or a little bit of cut. But it'd be in the strike zone, or it'd start in the strike zone and leak out of the strike zone, or it'd start just outside the zone and then, fade into the strike zone, which is a little bit of like what Lance Lynn does. This is my prediction for Lance Lynn. I'll go ahead and kind of say it. It kind of encapsulates exactly what Josh was saying. Is I think, and this is going to be a good visual, bad audio for the crowd. So I think he'll start really well this time of the year, where it's kind of, especially in Chicago, where it's kind of rainy, cold. And, hitting fastballs isn't going to be as easy if it's not squared up. And I think once it heats up, he's going to have less and less amounts of success with his fastball. And then towards the end of the year, when it cools down and it's more interdivision games and you're playing in late September in Minnesota or Kansas City or Chicago or Cleveland or whatever the fuck, the fastball is going to have even more success. So I think that'll be an interesting bell curve that I think will happen this year. You didn't see that really when he was in Texas, but I think mostly just because Texas as an organization when he was there was just shitty. They were not good. They were just very bad at what we call baseball. So I don't know. I think Lance Lynn is going to be an interesting one to watch because everyone in the White Sox pretty much just throws gas, but they also like can accompany it with off-speed stuff or like a slider slurve that will just break you. And Lance doesn't really have that, but it'll be interesting to see like how that evolves as the season goes along. Another point I want to ask you, how long is this your mean Mercedes thing going to last? Because I'm pretty goddamn tired of it.
He did have a pretty epic bat flip the other day, though.
How far did that home run go? Like
485.
Okay, someone said 540, and I was like,
"What?"
No,
I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then I looked at the stat tracks, and it was like 484, and I'm like, "Fuck, that was a shot."
It was a bomb though. And did you guys see for the diehards out there that aren't like 12 years old? I shared the Joe Borchard home run from 2004.
I did
504 feet. It was like mid-concourse shot, right center.
Yeah.
No big deal. That's the only thing he ever did in his career, though.
That's kind of like Glenn Allen Hill for the Cubs. He's the one who hit the home run on the rooftops.
I think Glenn Allen Hill Jr.
He plays in the minor leagues. He plays for the D-backs system.
The D-backs, the Padres, the D-backs. He's a little tiny guy though. He's real small.
Yeah,
and I was like, fuck
Glenn
it,
Allen
dude.
Hill was on fucking steroids.
I was
bro.
like, fuck. Sure. I was like, fuck. Oh, that's what I was saying. I was like fucking trade for him and bring him up just for the jersey sales.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there you go, dude. See, Josh. This is why we've been on the like bring steroids back thing because like you watch a guy like your man Mercedes hit a fucking tank like that. That gets everyone going. Like me and Tommy are Cubs fans here. We were excited about that.
Can you guys just imagine what the home run derby is going to be like in Colorado this year?
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that real quick. The All-Star.
Let me make this point first, and I want to get it. I want to get in front of this. I want them to put juiced balls in the home run derby.
I'm okay with that. For the home run derby, yeah. I like that.
And corked bats, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, cork it. Just do it all. Like take a shot of steroids.
Well,
right
especially
before you hit. Like,
especially like the new format where like
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just think that's better. Like you're not gonna have a guy get totally gassed like Josh Hamilton that hits 50 home runs in a row, but they can still rip off like 15 bombs.
Mm-hmm.
The new home run derby, I think, obviously surpasses the dunk contest and is right up there, I think, with the 3-point contest in terms of entertainment. But to the All-Star break home run derby thing, someone brought this up on Twitter. I'm sure you guys saw it. The move to Colorado was like the most political move I've ever seen by Major League Baseball, and it's complete dog shit. Tell me what it would have been like. Fucking home run derby at Wrigley Field, All-Star game at guaranteed rate. Tell me that wouldn't have been fucking flames, dude.
Well,
I don't hate that at all.
Right. I will say this, and to a reason why I'm glad that they decided to go to Colorado instead of like Wrigley Field or guaranteed rate is there's no way that we would have a full stadium.
You think maybe
July.
next year then?
Yeah, like I'm all for having the All-Star game.
They've already said it's in like somewhere else next year. I think they designated that, but maybe the year after.
Like, I think Wrigley especially needs to have the All-Star game here soon. One, because of the renovations and stuff like that. They have the fucking hotel across the street. Fucking Ricketts has been thinking about that for fucking years, no doubt.
When was the last All-Star game?
In like the 90s.
Because the Wrigley was 1990. I still have the magazine thing for it. What do you call that?
The program,
like the program. Yeah. Because I think my dad went to it.
Yeah, U.S. Cellular was 2003.
I was gonna say, I thought the cell was like in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. That was the year that I believe it was Aaron Boone, like completely whiffed in the home run derby. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I'm sure you can find that highlight on YouTube.
Well, I'm sure he made up for it in the ALCS that year. So
yeah. In 2003, yeah.
Yep.
No, that's like, I mean, what they decided to do to move it to Colorado, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's actually kind of, whether you agree with it or not, it is kind of nice to see the MLB take a stand on something, because I feel like they never take a stand on anything, though.
Like, silver lining, like, it's a good point too, Cody, by the way. That's very true. But silver lining is we're going to have a home run derby this year. We didn't fucking get one last year.
Right. And we didn't have an All-Star game either. Like, not that I really care about the All-Star game, but still. Do you think they need to bring that back? Like, which I get why it's fucking bullshit. Like, the winner shouldn't guarantee who has home field advantage. Yeah,
but
I don't like that.
It's got to mean something. Like, that's why I think the NBA All-Star game is weak, and like obviously the Pro Bowl is fucking whatever. But that's what was exciting about the All-Star game is like, okay, you guys, we're gonna play all the best guys, and we have to fucking win. Granted, the American League won like 18 out of 20 or something to end it, but I mean, God, whatever. I don't know. It's still cool watching Chris Bryant go deep off Chris Sale.
Yeah, that throwback. Never forget. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care if they got rid of that rule or not. But I understand why they did. I remember they got rid of it because there was a player who got hurt in one of the years before it got ended, before they got rid of that rule. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just something for the fans, in my opinion. So, well, with that said, Josh, anything else on the White Sox, man? I know today was a tough loss. You had rained out on Saturday, whatever. You split with the Royals, basically. You'll see if you win 2 out of 3 eventually whenever you do that makeup game. But I think you got your mojo back when you played the Mariners, which is the Mariners. But with that said, like, you think the Cubs would get their mojo back by playing the Pirates, but they can't fucking do that. So I think you should take those wins against the Mariners with like you should just be thankful, man.
Well, I'll tell you this, like, just playing the American League Central, and Detroit made some improvements this year, so I think that they're not going to be as much of a laydown team as we're used to seeing. And Kansas City is just, they're a thorn in our sides, man. Like they're the Pirates to the Cubs for but in our situation.
Not
It's
even
just
that,
so hard to
dude.
beat
The
them.
Royals are better than the Pirates, and the Pirates fucking suck.
Yeah, well, what I mean by that is like you're playing the worst team in the division.
Mm-hmm.
You should beat them, and all of a sudden, like it's 3-3 in the top of the 10th, and you're like, "Wow, how did we get here?" But
Right.
I think some other White Sox notes. Look, Michael Kopech, whatever the hell he did in the past 2 years, keep doing it. Like feed him the same thing. The dude is filthy. He's just disgusting. I'm gonna say this. You brought this up last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about who finds themselves in the rotation, if at all, between Crochet and Kopech. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's gonna be Mike Kopech, just based on Crochet's mishaps today. But here's what this is why I want to bring it up, because Cody, you brought it up the other show. Dylan Cease is going to be out of this rotation before Carlos Rodon is.
Well, he had a good start today, though.
We'll take him.
The thing is,
I would take him back. Yeah.
When you really pay attention to Dylan Cease, like his line always looks better than his actual performance. And I get it. Like he gave up one run to Kansas City. Like, it is what it is. But at the same time, he goes through stints where it's like, yeah, I just struck out 5 straight, 6 up, 6 down.
Yeah.
And then the next inning, he's going full counts to every hitter. He's like,
he's one of those
is loaded and got a pop up.
That's the thing. He's like the cardiac kid. It's just like he may go 4 innings of shutout ball, but guess what? He's at 120 pitches.
Yeah. And I just think eventually that's gonna come back to bite him in the ass, because it's like when you're playing these really good teams, you can't do that. Like eventually those teams are gonna take advantage of you going full and ramping up your pitch count. And of course, like that's gonna add up. Obviously, having Friday and Saturday off on top of the complete game that we had on Thursday, our bullpen was completely fresh. But if your 4th starter keeps racking up these pitch counts and you got to go into your bullpen early, it's like, okay, well, we might be able to plan for that on the 4th day, but what if Lance Lynn, what if he gets chased? Or what if the next day Carlos Rodon gets chased? It's like eventually you got to figure out a way for this guy. He's got nasty stuff. Like we all know his stuff is there, but you have to find a way for him to like really maintain his control and figure out why he's like going off the rails in some of these innings, because it's going to come back to get us.
Do you think Jared Kelly might be an option to call up?
I feel like this is another one of those Andrew Vaughn situations where like people are going to say it's too early and some people are going to say it's not. But no, I don't know. I think eventually, if anything happens, you're going to do it from the big club. I think it's going to be Kopech and somebody's going to swap.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And Kopech, like you said, he's been really good. I'm going to pull a Tommy here, and I would like to say when everyone was freaking out, or at least on Sox Twitter, was freaking out about it was in the off season. They're freaking out about signings or something, and I was like, well, Michael Kopech is going to be coming back. Like this guy's going to be something.
Yeah,
so
I was in that camp, and everybody called me dumb. So,
well, we were both dumb together, but
all right.
Are you going to go to any games?
No. I mean, for me, it's the experience is a little.
It's different.
Rough. So yeah.
Rough,
so I mean, I prefer to just watch it at home. But I'm happy for everybody going back though. I mean, that's awesome. You can tell.
If I came and picked you up and took you to a game, like if me and Tommy came and picked you up and took you to
do you live in Chicago, Josh?
No, I live in Joliet.
Oh, the fuck, dude! I know, right? I was in Lockport today, bud. I was kind of in that neighborhood. So
Yeah.
Cody and I will scoop you up. Let's see what we're gonna do is we're gonna take you to Wrigley Field, but tell you we're at guaranteed rate.
Yeah, but what's crazy is the rat piss is so much more evident at Wrigley Field.
Oh, damn.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The troughs are so like they're so much cleaner.
Yeah,
And,
they
like,
are.
They have little dividers there now. It's an experience taking the piss at Wrigley.
Oh yeah. I think that's a good transition. Tommy, we had the greatest piss at Wrigley Field on Monday.
Mhm.
The vibes were great. We saw 3 home runs. We watched the Cubs win 5-3.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been pretty bad. Like
So
they
would you guys
lost.
say you're good luck because you went and they won, or would you say
Yeah.
it's bad luck because ever
Yeah, I would
since
say-
you
well,
went?
At this point, yeah.
Cody and I were on a couple bad streaks of games going together. And it was nice to like bring that mojo back. Even before the game, we're like, look, we have to prepare for heartbreak. We have to expect a win, but prepare for heartbreak. And we
Prepare
didn't
to be
have
hurt.
that. Now, granted, we did break the seal physically and like metaphorically in that when I was taking a piss and I think Cody was getting a beer, is when Contreras hit that home run.
Yep.
Oh,
You had a home run.
see,
Yeah.
now you're going to be superstitious. Like if you go to the next game you go to, you're going to be down a run or two, and you're going to be like, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, I just need that.
See,
If I don't need to go,
it's
I
a
just need
very
to go
organic
stand
cycle because like if we start losing, I'm gonna start drinking more beer and then I'll have to pee. And then once I pee is when we start getting more runs.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense.
It's analytical, dude.
Analytics for fans. There you go. Yeah, dude, it was cool to be back at Wrigley. I low key, it was kind of nice just with like 10,000 people there. You didn't have all these people surrounded by you. You could get around pretty easily. As much as I'd love for like the place to be packed, 40,000 people just screaming, booing whoever, throwing the balls back when a home run's hit if it's by an opposing team like that. I think that like outside of that kind of thing, it was cool to be able to just have our own little like. I don't want to say section, but we almost had our own row.
So here's what it was: is every other row was where people were sitting, in the section, and then there would be spaces between groups of tickets that were purchased. So like we had a family of 4 next to us, and then there was like 2 to 3 seats open where we were sitting, and then there was like 4 to 5 on the other side of us as well. So it's nice to like be able to just kind of stretch your legs a little bit. You know what I mean? And then obviously you're not having to deal with people. And then the third thing was, I think, the social distance aspect, as well as people were masking up for the most part. Did a good job of that. I know, like, so I saw Jesse Rogers bitching about people not wearing their masks when they were sitting down. But like, as soon as Cody and I did a good job of having our masks on for most of the game, even while sitting. And if they were off, it's because we were down in either Polish sausages or hot dogs. And or Italian beefs and drinking our beers. But if we were out and about, obviously had our mask on. I think everyone did a good job doing their part in that. So
yeah, but for sure it was a good time. But then the following day they lost 4-0, and then they lost. What was it like? Really close. It was they almost got no hit by Brandon Woodruff. They ended up getting a hit. Freaking go to extra innings, get our hearts broken, and then go to Pittsburgh, win 1 game, and then these last 2 days, man, it's been painful. It's been pretty painful. Tommy, you've already kind of like said your 2 cents. Is there anything else you want to say before I tell you some good things
about the Cubs?
Yeah, about the Cubs.
Sometimes like it just comes down to very simple, like. You have to show up, hit the fucking ball, and you have to fucking win games. Like that's fucking it. You don't have to go incredibly deep analytically or look at things from a different perspective. It's all about wins and losses. 2 columns in your record. That's all that fucking matters. And right now they're piling up losses on the right side of the column. And that's not fucking good. And guess what? I know people say it's early. I don't give a shit if it's early because
I was just gonna say it's early.
Guess fucking what? Well, guess fucking what? If we get to late May, June, July, whatever, and we start getting into that buyers or sellers aspect, and everyone wants to be buyers, and we could have used 3 more wins to change Jed's perspective on whether we're buyers or sellers. guess what? We're going to look back at 3 fucking losses against the Pittsburgh fucking Pirates, who are dog shit. Their only wins this year are against the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field. Are you kidding me? Like, what?
Cody, you better come in with the positives. I think he's gonna have an aneurysm.
So, but that's what I'm saying is like, oh, it's early. Yeah, I fucking get that. If we were really good, if we were projected to have 95 to 100 wins, I'd be like, calm the fuck down. We're gonna go rip off 13 out of 14 here next week. Guess what? We're not gonna do that. We're not that good. We have to scrape and fight and claw for every goddamn inning and every goddamn win. And when we're losing to dog shit teams, guess what? Maybe we're the dog shit team. And maybe we are going to have to sell a guy like Javi Baez, a guy like Chris Bryant, a guy like Wilson Contreras. And then we're going to have to suffer through 3 years of fucking horse shit because we lost 3 games to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Because we lost 3 games to the Pittsburgh. Okay. All right. I understand exactly what you're saying when it comes to like, we need to win because we got to get Jed to believe that this team, like, to not sell. My thinking is I don't think the team is like better than, 85 wins tops. And that's like maybe you get a wild card. Maybe you win the division depending on how good the rest of the division is. Stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know. But my thinking is I'm with you. You can't lose games like against the Pirates because in like I think about 2018 where the Cubs, they had to end up playing game 163 against the Brewers, and it literally came down the last day. And you, at the end of that year, even though they made the wild card game, got their hearts broken and fucking against Colorado, you think back to games like I remember that year they lost a series against the Reds. The Reds were trash in 2018. And it's like you get a couple more wins here, you get a couple more wins there in certain series, and you're thinking, man, wouldn't even have to be here if we just would have won them. So it's like, to me, that's what it is. It's kind of like we have, if we're going to be in the playoff picture, we got to beat teams we're supposed to beat. And we didn't do that today. I'm not a giant pessimistic Cubs fan. I'm not a lot like Cubs Twitter, but like, there's like nothing I can say positive about this team right now. And Tommy mentioned before we went to go take a piss that, might not be able to keep around Javi Baez. Well, right now, I don't even know if I want Javi Baez. You know what I mean? Like, he's been horrific. He's an all or nothing guy, and it's pissing me off because in 2018, he was not an all or nothing guy. He was if he did something for you, like it was on the base paths, it was a defense, and yeah, the strikeouts were high, but like he took the ball to the opposite field a shit ton. He would make up for all those sliders that were thrown away to him. This year, he can't even hit a high fastball, bro. The one guy, some Pirates reliever, threw 3 fastballs right by him out of the zone.
They were like 90. They're like 94, 95 too. Is the problem? It's like they weren't 99 to 100. They weren't like excusable fastballs. They were, you know what I mean?
Yeah. To answer your question, Josh, yes, he did hit a home run today, and
On
I
a fastball,
understand
wasn't it?
it was. It was. I don't know if it was a fastball. All I know is that it was 87 right in the middle of the freaking plate. So I don't know if it was a fastball, but I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself because I just ranted about this on Cubs on Tap earlier. But Javi Baez is so all or nothing that I don't even know if I want the Cubs to even keep him around, Tommy. And the reason being is one, Nico Horner is going to be up in 36 days, less than 36 days now. And I know he's projected second baseman, but in the future, you could still play him as short. Also, Ed Howard, you're going to see him in like a year or two. Also, one of the guys that's from the Yu Darvish trade. That's going to be like 4 or 5 years down the road, probably less than that. And then Christian Hernandez, all really young. Like 3 of those guys are all really, really young.
Real quick before you continue, so Baseball Reference has the projections at Ed Howard for his arrival at 2023, and Christian Hernandez, who is the next A-Rod, his projected arrival is 2024.
Okay, so
which is
like
perfect
3 years.
Exactly.
After these big contracts end for the Cubs, You can start to replenish with, maybe some veteran presence, and then just rebuild the rest of the farm system around it.
Cody, continue your point. I think you're about to get to Javi Baez extension.
Right. Well, you said something before you went to go take a piss that, because of these losses to the Pirates, we're not going to be able to keep around a guy like Javi Baez. And right now, at this very moment, I don't know if I want Javi Baez on the Cubs next year and beyond. Like, Jed could trade him, but we couldn't even get anything for him, really. We wouldn't get any good value for him right now unless someone wants a really good defensive shortstop who has power when he actually hits the ball. The guy is going to strike out anywhere between 30 and 35%. All I'm asking is for him to not to strike out anywhere between 25 and 30%, which is still not very good. But for a guy like him, it's not asking much, and he can't even do that. Like, it's bad, man.
I think there's two things, like, to kind of piggyback off your point. Too real as far as like possibilities of what we'd see with Javier Baez. I think we do get some value in trading if we do trade him. I think with a guy like him, where he's kind of a baseball icon at this point, you would get a good return for him. Not a great one, but a good one. If he's not traded, what we're seeing out of his development, rather his underperforming at this point, is that if he does sign an extension, there are rumors that he wanted similar to Chris Bryant, maybe a little less, maybe closer to $250 million as opposed to $300. I think the Cubs would be batshit stupid to give him more than $200 million. I think they'd be. I think they'd be dumb if they gave him more than 175. I think maybe between 125 and 150, with a whole bunch of options to protect the club, not to protect the player if we do extend him. But kind of to like the other point of like the Chris Bryant talk, I like what I've seen out of him. The problem now with Chris Bryant being productive is none of these motherfuckers are getting on base ahead of him when he does this shit. When he's hitting the ball in the gap, when he's hitting the ball over the wall.
Yep. He's actually the one good thing that happened for the Cubs this week is he just had a really good fucking week. Like, he going into today, he had an OPS over 1,000. I think it's down to 928 because he didn't get a hit today. But either way, he almost had a home run today. It was caught at the warning track. But still, like, he's had great at bats. And that's the thing. Like, Chris Bryant, he adjusted to what was happening to him in those 35 games that he played last year where he was dog shit. Mm-hmm. And Javi Baez is doing the exact same things that we saw last year. And again, small sample size, 60 games. But it's like, how many more at bats does this guy have to realize that that pitchers are going to either throw him a slider, curveball, whatever it is away, or throw a high fastball out of the zone for him to not swing?
Well, I mean, that's just like kind of getting to the point where like sometimes like fucking hitting bombs, hitting with guys on base, and just playing winning baseball. Sometimes that's just all it has to be. Mm-hmm. Just play great baseball. Sometimes that's just what you have to do. You have to show up and beat the shit out of your opponent and beat the shit out of him for 3 straight days. And sometimes that's just what it has to be. None of this nuanced bullshit. We're like, oh, well, he went over 2, but he had 2 walks. No, motherfucker. He needs to hit the ball over the goddamn wall.
Right. Again, he did do that. I'm not even asking him to hit home runs, bro. I'm just asking him to put together good at bats. And honestly, if Javi Baez had 2 walks in a game, I would be ecstatic about it. I would be ecstatic because he had a streak of like 106 play appearances without a walk that was broken on Friday. And again, if baseball wasn't the way it was these days, I wouldn't be bitching about this. But it's so hard to score these days because the pitchers are so good. People throwing 99. Like, it's not just a few guys. It's not just a Aroldis Chapman throwing 103 anymore. Everyone, you know it, Josh. Half the White Sox roster is throwing gas. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it pisses me off about Javi Baez because, again, they're playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he can't consistently put together a good at bat.
Do you think that has a little bit to do with? Do you think that has a little bit to do with? Do you remember when the last year of Joe Madden's contract when Javi Baez was like, yeah, like we just didn't come prepared, like I just wasn't ready. Do you think that has anything like that comes into play when you're playing bad teams like the Pirates? Like, do you think he's like, well, it's Pittsburgh, like we should roll through this series?
Like they roll in with the mentality of like we're the superior team,
Yeah.
so we don't have to prepare as hard or go in and play
Exactly.
like as hard.
Yep.
I mean, if that's a thing, then that's on David Ross. But I don't think David Ross is the problem with the Cubs' start to the season of 4-5. I think David Ross has been fine. That's a good question. I don't know. For him personally, I would hope not, man, because he's got a lot to prove in a contract year. A lot to prove. And he's been bad.
KB's just raising that trade stock.
Exactly. He is. He really is. As much as I don't want the Cubs to trade him, but
so if there's like any sort of good news coming up, and it's going to happen in the summer, the guy we got in the James Norwood trade, I think is going to get called up this year.
Oh yeah.
Darius Valdez, he's just a big old motherfucker, dude. He's 6'8", like 260 pounds. I think he might be close to 275. He I mean, if he throws 100-mile-an-hour, that means he's just warming up.
Right.
But thing is, he's kind of like that. Got that Carlos Marmol thing where like he'll strike two guys out, then he'll walk the bases loaded, then he'll strike the sixth guy out.
Yeah.
His strikeout to walk ratio is like laughable.
Right.
But
can I give you my good things about the Cubs that I was gonna say, but it never got to because I started ranting about Javi Baez. Good things. The Cubs bullpen leads baseball in strikeout percentage at like 35%, which I think of all the good things about, or of all the bad things about the Cubs, one of the mainstays so far has been the bullpen. Starting rotation's actually hasn't been bad either, but Trevor Williams and Zach Davies not good the last 2 days. But bullpen's been pretty good outside of Dan Winkler walking the bases loaded the other day and then Kimbrel saving his ass, which, by the way, Kimbrel's also been very good. And at the very least, is helping his trade.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone's like, we finally went from like, if we traded Craig Kimbrel, we'd get back like a card that says "fuck you" on it. To like an actual legit prospect at this point. Like Kimbrel's the kind of guy who we could like steal a future position player.
For sure. For a team that like needs a closer at the deadline or something like that, it would be similar to how the Cubs had to give away Gleyber Torres for freaking Aroldis Chapman in 16. Like,
makes me feel good though, because Gleyber's not playing very well this year. He's been like phenomenal pretty much every other season. But
dude, he's only good against the Orioles.
That's what I hear a lot of fans on Twitter say.
That I think over half of his home runs last year were against the Orioles.
Well, I think the thing about like Gleyber's his home runs, like speaking of that, like he hit so many just barely over the wall in Yankee Stadium, which is just like the smallest stadium to ever ever. And they said like something crazy, like only 72 or 73% of his home runs in 2018 would have been home runs in like other ballparks, which is yeah, you hear that's still a high number, but it's still like, holy shit, dude. That means like 10 or 15 of his home runs would have been like off the wall or flyouts in other stadiums, which is unbelievable to think about. But still, man, I would take him over what we're seeing from Baez right now.
For sure. I mean, the whole reason that they sent him that trade is because we thought Addison Russell was going to be the next big thing. And for people listening, I just kind of shot myself in the face. Yeah, I don't have anything else in the Cubs except that just things are bad, but they got a chance to right the ship against Milwaukee. Milwaukee, if there's any other good news, St. Louis lost 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. They got their ass whooped back-to-back days. It's always a good day when the Cardinals get their ass kicked. I will always say that. And another good thing is that we're in the NL Central and no team is running away with this. We're 4-5. We just need to like chill, but at the same time, like we got to beat teams we're supposed to beat. Like that's just what we're supposed to. We got to do at least if you're a Cubs fan. So, Tommy, anything else about the Cubs?
We just mentioned the Craig Kimbrel trade stuff. I think teams to watch out for that could trade for him and give us prospects. I'm looking at 3 teams. 2 are in the East. One is the Philadelphia Phillies. One is the Miami Marlins, and then the other is actually in the NL Central. It's the Cincinnati Reds. I think both the teams in the East that I mentioned are going to kind of jockey for position in the East, and they're like one more arm. And I think Kimbrel would be a good spot for both of those teams in the month of July. And I think Cincinnati is off to a fantastic start this season. Just lost today, unfortunately, to Arizona. Not unfortunately, but whatever. They fucked up. They couldn't. I needed them in the over, and they didn't come through. Anyway,
that's okay. The White Sox. I bet $50 on the White Sox to win today on multiple books, and they fucked me, man.
Yeah.
They fucked me.
Yeah.
So, Josh, we like to put a lot of blame on Sean for random things, and he's not here. So I'm putting the blame on you for this because I lost a lot of money betting on the White Sox.
Can you give me credit when you watch the best pitching matchup of the week on Tuesday night? That is Lucas Giolito, Shane Bieber.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That might be the best. That might be the best one for sure. I don't know the pitching matchups for the week, but that's going to be a good one. I'll take the under.
I can't wait to see who Shane Bieber gets traded to.
Just not the Cardinals, man.
That's probably what's going to end up being because fuck us. They'll like the Cardinals will give up like the ghost of Mark McGwire for the Cleveland Indians. They'll get Shane Bieber, and then like out of nowhere, the Indians will also give the Cardinals like $20 million cash.
God damn it! Yep, sounds about right. All right, Josh. Well, again, thanks for joining us, man. We'll see you next week. Have a safe travels back home whenever you leave Detroit, and say hi to
Detroit pizza. Get a Detroit style pizza.
Here.
It's really good.
No, it's here.
It's good. Nice. Oh, awesome.
Let us know how it is.
Yeah, we'll do. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you, bud.
See you, Josh.
All right. I think it's a good time. Like, I just aired some more grievances. I aired a ton of grievances on Cubs on Tap earlier about Javi Baez and the rest of the team and fucking how no one can hit. It's weird though that we've reached the Bears and there's nothing to really bitch about. They didn't do anything this week to piss us off. And I just want to point that out because I don't know. I hate the Bears front office. I hate the way they do things, but it's just kind of nice. Like, I want to give them a shout out for just not being the Bears this week.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I saw like Bears kind of ish news is that, Taylor Gabriel retired. Whatever.
I saw Anthony Miller wants a trade, or not. He doesn't want to trade, but the Bears are looking to trade Anthony Miller. Yeah, which I think we've been very. I've been very like, let's just cut the guy.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I know the guy's super talented. I know the Bears could actually trade him and probably not get the value, and he would go on to think Atlanta and be good or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think two moves that are going to happen before the draft. Maybe closer to after the draft. I don't know how much they want to see as far as value, but probably before the draft, you'll see Anthony Miller be not on the Bears anymore. I think that'll gain traction closer we get to the draft. As in, they might use him to see if we want to move up, move down, or get more picks, whatever. And then another pick, I think, just to create more cap space, can be Charles Leno or Jimmy Graham, probably going to be cut just because it'll save us money. I think we'll save like $10 million with cutting Charles Leno. I think we'll save $7 million if we cut Jimmy Graham. I think we'll probably just have to use that depending on who we sign position wise in the draft. Now, when is the draft? It's coming up here in a couple weeks, isn't it?
Here I'll search it really quick, but I know it's coming up. It's this month, man.
Here's the thing. It's so funny because like even last year,
April 29th,
during the season, I was looking up mock drafts and I was doing the same thing up until like February. I haven't looked at a mock draft in like forever.
Dude, I had to stop looking at them just because like every day, I don't even slide in the Bears Twitter. I just follow a lot of people who are part of Bears Twitter. And a lot of that has to do with some of my TikToks going viral on Bears Twitter. Every single day, these motherfuckers are talking about which quarterback they should take, what like this. And honestly, I don't know how they do it, man. I don't know how they put themselves through talking about the Bears every single day. That's why I was just like last week, when they talked about Andy Dalton, like, or that Matt Nagy was going to start calling plays again, I was kind of like, it's baseball season. I don't care right now. I can't let the Bears affect my day, my mood anymore until the draft. Like, I just can't do it. Thankfully, we were gifted this week, but still.
A couple things about the Bears that I'm upset about. It's not hard. I wish they would go back to Bourbonnais. I think they're doing it all in Lake Forest this year, which is probably better for me because we both live closer.
It would be better for you and me. Yes.
But I just think, I don't know, just like going to like Bourbonnais was always just a cool, like,
it was a cool experience.
Like, yeah. And but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
They started doing it last year, like before last season in Lake Forest. So yeah.
As far as like the quarterback stuff, I read this article that Mitch Trubisky wasn't even the Bills' first like option to be their backup quarterback, which made me laugh because they didn't think he was good enough to be their backup. So all the Mitch Trubisky stands, there you go. There's your good news for the week.
God damn it.
I'm never gonna stop picking on those guys. Secondly, I've just so scarred and broken by the ownership and front office that it's hard for me to give a shit. Like even if they make the best pick for them, they'll fuck it up. They're gonna fuck this person up as a player until they can prove me wrong. And unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. Because guess what? They can start out 7-1 next year, and I don't think we're gonna like whatever. If we make the playoffs, fantastic. We made the playoffs last year, and it felt like we tanked last year and had a shitty season, and we're drafting 20th in the first round. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
That's what it feels like.
All right.
And also, I don't know why I'm recording, and my room is pitch black right now.
That's okay. We can see you. That's all that matters, man. Yeah. I do want to bring up a story I was reading earlier today, actually. So there's an and I bring it up because you and your shots at Mitch Trubisky. So I think you would actually really like this story. But a former player like passionately defended Matt Nagy on Twitter the other day, and then he took a shot at Mitch Trubisky. His name's Ross Tucker. He played in the NFL from 2001 to 2007, played for 5 different teams. Let me find the tweet. I'm in this article. He says the guy is 28-20, has 2 playoff berths, would have a playoff win if it wasn't for Cody Parkey and the double doink, has had 0 losing seasons, all with a quarterback that the NFL thinks so highly of. He's getting paid $2.5 million to back up MVP candidate Josh Allen. Tucker began referring to the 1-year, $2.5 million deal Trubisky signed with the Buffalo Bills. Doubled down on his defense of Nagy. He says people talk about Matt Nagy like he's some terrible coach. Nobody. Okay, and forget what any of us think about Mitchell Trubisky. Nobody in the NFL wanted him. The Bills took him as a backup, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't even the Bills' first choice as to be the backup for Josh Allen. $2.5 million for 1 year.
Let's
behind
go.
An MVP candidate.
Another confirmation that I was right. Jesus Christ!
Again, this is literally just for you to, I guess, run with and be happy about. If you want me to like DM it to you, I can.
The thing is, like I tried so hard to be a Mitch guy. But I mean, like the thing is like people on Twitter, like they talk about the analytical side and like his statistics on paper about Mitch, and it's like sometimes you just got to go out and win playoff games and play winning football consistently, and you got to get a gamer, and we that's what we need. Someone who's going to go out and just put their fucking dick on the table and just let it ride. And goddamn, we haven't had a team like that since 2018. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's nauseating to like, because it's nauseating because we're going to go out and we're going to show up on Sundays like fucking assholes and put all our energy into rooting for a team that doesn't deserve us as fans.
Yeah. You're right. You're exactly right, man. It's a tale as old as time. We're just always going to keep giving our money to George, but fuck him and fuck Ted Phillips. Whatever.
And I mentioned it before, and not to give these guys props, but not that they fucking need it, but is it Jonathan Hood who's on ESPN 1000 with David Kaplan?
Yeah.
He does the George McCaskey letter readings in the morning on ESPN 1000, and it is just pure gold. Like he reads it in a tone that you can tell exactly that's how George is reading it, and that's what his intentions are. And it's so perfect because it encapsulates the energy that George McCaskey gives off, which is just fucking losing, being a fucking old honky loser.
Yeah, I agree, man. All right. Before we get to cool and tough, I used my Manscaped razor the other day. Still fucks, very good stuff. Tommy, tell me a little bit about Manscaped.
Well, I think it's almost dating season, right? Like everyone's getting vaccinated. Like I'm talking with girls who are also vaccinated, and we're setting up dates like to go out. And I don't have a bush, but if you do have bush and are getting ready to go on dates, you definitely have tried haven't tried the best products from our sponsor today, which is Manscaped. Now, after using their life-changing products, you're going to want to join Ball Sack Beauty Contest.
That's beautiful.
Sometimes you read an ad and you just get thrown a curveball, and I didn't think Ball Sack Beauty Contest was going to be in the read, but here we are. And guess what? I'm looking out for you too, because I have an exclusive 20% off discount using the code ONTAP, ONTAP, at manscaped.com, manscaped.com. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your body grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 kit. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 3.0, which is waterproof, has the cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. It has the best trimmer to help you trimming up the hedges. Also features the ceramic blade, which kind of reduces the grooming accidents, going to nick your balls, nick any other sensitive areas down there. And they also have the what do they call it? The ball toner, the crop preserver, and then they have the ball deodorant. So if you shave, just zip it up, put on the ball toner, put on your ball deodorant, and then you can put on your Manscaped boxers as well. And be sure to add their new refined cologne to your arsenal. The Perfect Performance Package, you get 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high performance manscaping shape boxers, which I just mentioned. Again, you can get 20% off with free shipping using the code ONTAP, ONTAP, at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for your bush trimming experience. Again, that's get 20% off with free shipping with the code ONTAP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code ONTAP. It's 2021 and you still got bush. Change that with Manscaped.
That was beautiful, Tommy. We're live. That's the first time we ever did that.
They didn't mention it, but like everyone, I just used mine the other day. Used my lawnmower 3.0.
Nice.
And I'm running out of the magic mat. I have one left, and I need to get some more. But just when you wait more than a couple weeks between trimmings, and the cleanup afterwards fucking sucks. So I would highly recommend when you go and buy these at manscaped.com that you do get the magic mat, because I've been an advocate for the magic mat for almost a year now, as long as Manscaped has been with us.
Yeah.
You just shave your stuff and you just it goes all into this mat, and you just fold it up, crumple it up, throw it away. You don't have to do the very humbling like cleanup with like a wet towel or like toilet paper. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just like, you don't have to experience that move. And it's just like, especially like with someone like you who like you share your grooming area with a significant other. Yeah. Like you don't have to worry about leaving some like on the floor, the toilet, or in the shower, or whatever. You don't have to deal with that conversation. You can just like crumple up the magic mat and get it and good to go. And I don't know why, but I do have, I think I showed you, I have some crop preserver sitting in my car for emergencies. Like, I don't know why.
You did not show me because I haven't been in your car, but
it's sitting in my, like the little thing in the middle, like cargo compartment. I got some crop preserver and ball deodorant. Like, I don't know how that's going to affect my game if I need it on a day. Like, oh shit, like I better go throw in my crop preserver.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's funny. All right. That's pretty cool and tough move, actually. Like to just do that and think it's okay. I like that.
And kind of against the grain. a friend of ours uses his to trim his face. I'm hoping he doesn't shave his balls with the same lawnmower, but he doesn't trim the beard because the blade it has on it, that skin safe blade, actually makes it perfect length for like trimming up the beard, kind of leaving it a little thicker than 5 o'clock shadow, but it still looks clean. So
exactly. I love it. All right. We have reached to the point of the show that the people would just really love to get up for, I think. At least I hope so. It's what I always like to believe. And that is Cool and Tough, Layman Week and Shallow Realm of the Week. So let's start with Cool and Tough. Thomas, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So my Cool and Tough is these old people in Japan.
I can't wait to just put old people in Japan on the graphic.
Okay, so I came across this article on Reddit and did a little research on it. So these older people there. So in Japan, there's like certain places where there's like a bunch of buildup from radiation. Now, I don't know if that's from like a couple of bombs we dropped off there like 60 years ago. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that's probably what it's from.
My goodness. Okay.
But so these older people they're lining up to clean the radiation and taking the spots, and they're telling younger people that they will take their spots to clean this up. Reason being is that this radiation, the level where they're cleaning it up, it takes 20 to 30 years to develop like the cancer, right? So these guys, like they interviewed this guy's name's, Mr. Yamada. He goes, I'm 72 years old, and on average, I probably only have 13 to 15 years left to live. And he goes, if I was exposed to the radiation, it would take too long to develop before I would, die of natural causes to affect me. So there's a group of 200 retirees in Japan that volunteer to expose themselves to these high levels of radiation. That way the younger men and women don't have to expose themselves and then risk obviously the effects. So I think that's like, that's like fucking cool and tough as shit. Like they're taking their spot. They're like jumping on the sword for these younger folks. That way they can live a longer and healthier life. And kind of like not have the risk of affecting their personal lives and all that good stuff. So I think that's just like a cool move by these guys.
Nice. Should I really just put these old people in Japan on the graphic?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, people they'll have to listen to understand.
Yeah, that's a good way to get them
and
to
if people really know me, they're gonna if they read that without listening, they have no idea which way I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. That's a good one. That is pretty cool and tough. All right. So I came up with a few cool and toughs. Is that you only had that one? Did you have any others? No. Okay. So I wrote down 3. So my first cool and tough is DMX, RIP in peace. To one of the I guess you tell me. Do you think he's a rap legend?
Maybe like a rap icon. I think he's iconic. But give your piece, and then I'll give mine.
I'll just say that he released some of the best songs to listen to when you're like on your way to the gym, or like if you needed something to like get pumped up to or something, or like if you're at, like, for instance, a lot of like ballparks have been playing his songs pregame, like before first pitch, stuff like that. Like he has like 4 hits that that everyone knows, and they all are just like really good like pump up songs. But yeah, he's 50 years old, died, had a hard life with drugs and stuff like that. So I don't know, just another one has passed, and yeah, it sucks, but he will be remembered, man. He was I love Party Up in Here. It's one of my favorite songs to listen to, like when I'm on my way to the gym or something like that. It was a jam of mine for a really long time.
Yeah. So couple things on DMX from my point of view. I think I wouldn't say he lived a good life, but I think he lived a hell of a life, though. I mean, considering he lived to be 50 years old and the environment in which he grew up and the life in which he lived, making it 50 years is pretty goddamn respectable.
Priceline can save you up to 60% on top hotels.
Hell yeah.
Stupid ad just popped up on my other computer.
I like the face you made too. It's like you just like your mom walked in on you watching porn. But I mean, to that aspect, I mean, yeah, it sucks the way he went out, but I think he still lived a hell of a life. Two, as far as like the question you asked if he was like a legend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think there needs to be that discussion. I think if someone like him dies, or anyone really, I think just celebrate his life and his accomplishments for what they were, and celebrate him by playing his music and having a good time while you play his music. And I think a lot of people are doing that more so than what they've done with any other person, especially like someone like Mac Miller. Different tone of rap, and I think people celebrate it in a more emotional way. I think with DMX, you're seeing it more of just like a celebration of like he released a handful of bangers, and they kind of talk about the memories associated with those songs, and I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing to see. And I think that's kind of the point of his music too. He released a video, and I quote tweeted it, and he said, sometimes you don't want to feel good, sometimes you just want to feel worse. Oh, yeah, and he released some of those songs that, they don't make you feel good. They're about angst and anger and pain and sadness, and others where it's just like, I want to fucking party, I want to drink and have a good time with my friends. And I think if people can celebrate with that tone and enjoy, his accomplishments in that way, then I think that's a life and a career well lived and well deserved.
Very well said, man. Mm-hmm. Very well said. Two other things, not as big as DMX and his life, but this week the Dodgers got the World Series rings. The only reason that I'm pointing it out is Joe Kelly. They took a picture with him with the ring, and he did the lip thing or whatever that he did at Houston last year. The pouty face, yeah. That's pretty much, honestly, like, I don't like the Dodgers, but I love Joe Kelly. That guy fucks. He's pretty cool and tough. And then the other thing, the Brandon Marshall meme that's surrounding the internet. I don't know if you saw our Twitter account tweet out, like, what Chicago sports tape makes you, like, basically scream into a freaking video and scream like he did in that video that went viral. It was like him and like two other former athletes talking about something, and he was just screaming about some take or whatever. I think related to like NFL players being paid or NBA players being paid. I can't remember. Sure. But I just love that meme. So I think that's
yeah. Yeah. I think that meme is pretty much like me anytime like I have to talk about Mitch Trubisky.
Yep. I honestly, when I posted it on our Twitter account, I honestly thought about just putting it and then just being like, Mitch Trubisky sucks in all caps, and then just putting like adding you just like as a quote. But then I was like, let's get everyone else involved here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna reach back to DMX real quick. Just a quick point. My favorite Christmas song of all time is when he sings
Rudolph.
Rudolph. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is the greatest thing. Yeah.
That and the Cat Williams impression of DMX when he was in high school is the funniest shit ever. But that meme is quality. I also thought about it. It's like anytime I watch Cubs baseball, it's just like,
yeah. Anytime I just watch sports and get really fucking mad, that Brandon Marshall meme is me. Yes. Yes. So, all right, let's move to Layman Week. Mine aren't very good, so I'm going to let you go first.
A couple. I'm starting with my small one first. It's like a personal gripe.
Okay.
I briefly talked about it with you before the show, and I sent my brother a string of Snapchat videos pertaining to this, but I don't play a lot of video games. I mostly just like the 3 games I play are Madden, 2K, and like MLB The Show. Like I don't
sports games.
Yeah, but so I don't play like games with guns in it. Like not that I
Call of Duty.
I don't have anything against it. I just it's not my bag.
Yeah.
But the fact that MLB The Show, which they're making some great changes to the game this year, which is great for especially guys who play like me. But the fact that they released it 3 weeks into the season is just like fucking dog shit. Like, I think that's the stupidest thing ever.
Is that on the MLB or is that on whoever fucking makes that game, which I can't remember?
San Diego,
blame for that.
Like San Diego Studios is the one who produces it. Okay. I couldn't tell you why. I did read that some of it has to do with like it takes them a while to process like the actual discs for the rosters and stuff, for the roster updates, like post opening day cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. But I couldn't. I don't know. It's been like they do this every fucking year, and I'm always the asshole that spends the extra $35 to get it 4 days earlier because I'm a fucking idiot. Like, but they know like dipshits like me can't wait that weekend because they're either going to release it on a Monday or they're going to release it on a Friday night.
Right.
And it's like, of course, I want to spend 3 days of not sleeping and playing a video game I love. So, I guess fuck them, but I'll admit that back to the game because I know it'd be great. My other game in the week is I believe it's Khloe Kardashian.
Yeah.
I confuse the only ones I know are Kim,
Courtney.
Shit. I guess just Kim. I couldn't tell you.
You not know who Courtney is? Courtney. There's Kim, Courtney, and Khloe. That's it.
And then Kylie and
Kylie Jenner and Kendall Jenner.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know them all. Yeah.
Okay.
But Khloe, I've been reading the story. She like posted, or someone posted a picture of her like unedited and without makeup. And she had it scrubbed from the internet. One, I saw the photo. She's still, I mean, fucking banging, dude. Like fucking, of course she looks awesome.
Right.
But she had a scrub because it wasn't like she had some like minor faults in her looks, like whatever.
Right.
And she made this big campaign of posting a picture of like, this is what I look like unedited and without makeup and all this shit. And it's like she's going after the entire internet because of the standards that her and her family created.
Right.
By monetizing Instagram the way they did.
Yeah.
And it's like, how hypocritical is that? That you try to do
like on top of the they're filtering the shit out of their photos.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And it's just like you create these standards for women that are so fucking unfair, and then you you use your power to wipe a photo from the internet,
right? Because
you think you don't look good in it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
How fucking selfish and like you have to be in a different planet to think that this is going to be okay and go unnoticed. Like, Jesus Christ. I couldn't imagine agree, I'm going on a different tangent. I couldn't imagine being a female in 2021. Because I know if I would, I'm a basic bitch white boy. I'd be a basic bitch girl too. Like having to live up to those fucking standards from society, especially on social media, and that have someone that set those standards do this is just a punch in the face. Like that's unbelievable. I couldn't do it. Like I don't get how girls do this shit every day. Kudos to you, because goddamn, like for me and Cody, I know you get it too. Like us getting ready to go out takes us like 20 minutes.
20 minutes tops.
Like get your clothes on and like put on some deodorant and like fuck around with your hair for a little bit.
Yeah, and then usually while I'm waiting for Cassidy to get ready, I'm already drinking a beer.
Right. Yeah, like the boys are already have already drank through a 6-pack, ready to roll, and it's like there's still 30 minutes left. But it's like something that they don't have to do, but they kind of do because like the bar was already set by these dumb fucking selfish individuals. You know what I mean? Like it's unbelievable. So she's lame and weak. Fuck her.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, throw in the Shadow Realm as well.
Is she the one who dated Lamar?
I believe so. I believe it's either her or Courtney. I can't remember which
whoever
one.
dated Lamar and like forced him to get addicted to meth. Like that's just.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know that Kim's the one who dated Ray J and Chris Humphries and Kanye. So, all right.
I still remember that Chris Humphries video where he threw her in like the water and she lost a $40,000 earring or something like that.
I
like on their honeymoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Their marriage lasted like what, a month or something?
I think so. Yeah. Wow.
Wow. What a time. All right, we're done talking about the Kardashians. My layman week. So it's just another reason to bitch about the Colorado Rockies trading Nolan Arenado and $50 million to the St. Louis Cardinals for a washing machine. Nolan Arenado hit a home run on Friday. It was like a go-ahead home run. I know the Cardinals have lost 2 in a row, and like their pitching staff looks like ass and like all that good stuff. But fuck Colorado Rockies, their organization, for literally giving away Nolan Arenado and $50 million for a washing machine to the St. Louis Cardinals of all fucking people. It's about as lame and weak as ever because their fucking team didn't want to pay him, even though you gave him a giant contract and your fucking GM couldn't have a good relationship with your best player and the best player to come into your franchise, probably since fucking Todd Helton. Whatever. I will never forget this. I know you won't either. So
it's like, how do they keep getting away with this?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like you can almost understand the Paul Goldschmidt trade because when they traded him, he only had 1 year remaining, and they got Luke Weaver and Carson Kelly, Luke Weaver had a no-hitter going in the 6th inning today, and Carson Kelly, I don't even know if he's on the D-backs roster anymore. I think he's like in their system somewhere. But you kind of like you could get it. You could get like that trade a little bit. It's in the scope of reality. This trade was not. And the fact that the owner has come out multiple times and be like, we fucked up. We fucked up. Like, they're like, we tried to make it work with Nolan. What do you fucking mean you tried to make it work? You made it work. You gave him the bag.
Yeah.
You had Trevor Story to pair with him. You have Charlie Blackmon. Like, you got Hampson and all these guys. They got dudes.
Yeah.
And they're losing close games, which would be helped if they had an all-star MVP caliber third baseman.
Right.
Like, What do you mean? Who in St. Louis flew to Colorado and held a gun to the GM's head?
Seriously.
Because that's what fucking happened.
That's what happened.
And I mean, the cherry on top is the $50 million. The Rockies gave the Cardinals money.
$50 million, not just like a couple million. This isn't cash considerations. They gave them enough money to give another guy a contract, bro. Like $50 million, the biggest fleece in baseball history. I probably will go to the grave with it, bro. I'll probably go to the grave. The thing is,
the Cardinals. I'm trying to make the money add up here. They could have used that $50 million to re-sign Yachty, to pay 2 years of Andrew Miller's contract, and I think the last year of Matt Carpenter's contract. I think that adds up to a little over $50 million.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
You fucking kidding me? Yeah. No, it's fucking.
And the thing is, they're gonna get another comp pick every year. They get one.
It's stupid. My other layman week was just Gonzaga. Only because I put a lot of money on them to win the national championship, and then they lost, but they are also classic Gonzaga, so they're just layman week for just living up to what Gonzaga is always known for, which is just always being really, really fucking good, playing a weak-ass conference and getting deep in the NCAA tournament, only to lose to a team from a Power 5 conference that's played actual teams all season long. So
yeah, I heard Baylor's inspirations. They found out that Gonzaga apparently ordered champagne before the game,
which is crazy if that's true. Yeah, the fuck.
But again, another school, like, I would have been fine with Gonzaga winning it because I feel like they kind of care a little bit. They would a little bit, but I know it's kind of still along the vein of like, if they lost, they can fall back into the safety net of we'll be back next year. In Baylor, like, that's Texas, their football school. Like, that's just another cute dub for them cute little banner to hang. So
other cities, they don't deserve it.
Doesn't go to a university that actually gives a shit and would sell their soul for an appearance. But whatever.
Thank you for basically putting it very simply. All right, shout out realm of the week before we wrap up the show, bud.
I mentioned it. The Cubs they just ruined my fucking weekend. I put in the Cubs in there. Like, I didn't have any plans this weekend. And my plan was to just watch baseball, specifically watch the Cubs, snag a couple dubs against the piss poor Pirates.
Yep.
And we got absolutely smoked.
Yep. 2 runs in 18 innings.
And I think 14. The problem is like these just fucking feel worse than like in previous years where like would get off to a slow start. It's like they just feel worse. I think it's because like the picture is becoming more clear that like these guys are going to be leaving, probably, and it's like you're getting kind of graduation goggles watching these guys play because it's like we're at the final exit for these guys.
Yeah,
and this is how we're going to go out, not on top, but like on the bottom.
Right. So. Yeah, man. We talked about earlier, like this team, like they're just so like I feel like maybe like the lack of anyone getting a contract extension in the spring might affect this team right now. Might be like maybe because we didn't extend Rizzo. We kind of talked about on Cubs on Tap. Joe Kilgallen brought this up. Maybe Rizzo not getting extended like is affecting the locker room. I don't know. Like it's just like a no one knows anything, but just like a thought. Like Ian Happ literally said like a week and a half ago that Rizzo deserves a statue, and then the news about the lowball offer comes out, and it's just like I don't know what these guys in the locker room are thinking, man. I don't know what they're thinking. All I know is that they need to hit and they need to perform.
And I'm gonna put a pin in that because I said I would talk about it before, and I just forgot. Structure, like the actual physical structure of contracts. I will teach you and Ron what they actually are and how they're laid out. Because the information Ron was giving out was very not correct. So I'll give you guys a tutorial on how these contracts work.
I really don't know. So.
Yeah, so I'll lay it out to paint a clear picture on how it works, and how it'll put the Cubs in a not very gratuitous position to re-sign a few of these guys. But I'll dive deep into that next week, because right now it's not looking like we're going to be talking about any dubs. So
yeah. I guess so. My shower on the week is just Deshaun Watson. I think a few more. We talked about it at work the other day, but a few more masseuses have come out. I think it's up to like 22 or 23. Licensed massage people, masseuses, whatever, have said that Deshaun Watson has had some misconduct. All I can really say at this point is that I guess I'm kind of glad the Bears didn't go after him. I guess they missed. Well, they missed on purpose. I guess I don't know. But
I think this is my opinion. I think the owner GM. I don't know if the owner is the GM in Houston. I don't know that layout now, especially since they got rid of their coach who was also the GM. But I think he did the Bears a favor and whoever else that brought trade offers in, because I think they probably knew something was coming up the pipeline. Mm-hmm. And I think not that it wouldn't have been doing the Texans a favor, because they would have. But I think that probably would have left a sour taste in every other owner and GM's mouth in the league. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, you're going to give us your bucket of dirty laundry right now and then fuck us? Because I think the rumors are that he's not going to play next year and may not play the year after. Situationally, though, it's an interesting dynamic, right? You got the owner whose neighbor is the lawyer for all the, I guess, accusers, victims, these young women. And then obviously Watson hired himself another celebrity lawyer. And they're publicly stating that they're going to want to take this trial. And then privately, the rumors are that they want to settle. So, and then obviously you have the two women who came out and went public, which kind of like puts it in a little perspective of like, wow, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, he's not necessarily a monster. I'd say like 10 Buddy's a monster, but this guy is just a fucking creep. And I don't know, it's tough to see. So
he's like using his power to like,
absolutely.
For sure. And of all guys, I would never have thought that a guy like him would do it. He always has come off as like a genuinely good dude. But yeah, it's not looking good.
That's the interesting dynamic is like we don't that just kind of shows that we don't see the behind the scenes part of these guys' lives a lot,
Sure.
you know, like they can put on this facade of being a stand-up dude on and off the field, but I mean we're only seeing them for 3 hours on a Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday, and the players only see them for a few hours during the week, but that's a lot of time where they're not together, and the whole off season and all that good stuff. So it just kind of sucks for the women that had to go through this, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Well said, man. All right. Well, with that said, I think that's the show. I want to remind everyone to head on over to ontapsportsnet.com, get all your Chicago sports needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap. You can follow Tommy at official_T Long. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Skies Falling Pod and the Skies Falling Pod on Instagram. Are we gonna have a midweek show this week, man?
Yeah, sure. If we don't, so yeah, there's a couple of guests I need to. I've been DMing with somebody who I'm sure everyone that listens is a fan of, and he's just, super busy. The company works for keeps him busy. But there's another guest I'm wanting to get on, and he's gonna be involved in a poll that I'm releasing tomorrow. It has to do with what kind of sign I'm gonna bring to the next game. I think you guys saw the signs that we brought to the last game. Shout out to Dom.
The last Cubs game. Yep.
I got some ideas churning, so I'm gonna release that on Monday after the show is released, and then see what he thinks as far as coming on. But yeah, fuck it. If we don't get a guest list, me and you just yell into the mic for an hour.
I mean, for sure, we can always do that, as always. I know you've been very busy with transitioning at work.
Mm.
Sean's been busy transitioning at work. So I honestly stopped asking because I felt like I was just annoying you guys. So I felt like I need to take a step back.
Well,
so.
What really sucks too, and is like this little dive in my personal life, like I'm leaving. I came to this job and I with significantly less hours, less stress, but the fucking commute where I'm living now, I had to drive from the north side of Chicago to the southwest side every day. And it's like 4.5 to 5 hours of commuting every goddamn day.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, you do commute very far. Yeah, you do commute pretty far. I commend you for making it, man. So again, that's why I've kind of taken a step back, let you guys do what you got to do, and we'll bring the midweek shows back when we can. So yeah, I have an idea who you're talking about. So if we have a midweek show this week, we do. If not, we'll see everyone on Sunday. I don't have anything else. Hopefully the Cubs get their shit figured out. Hopefully the Bulls can start winning games again. But yeah, I have nothing else. Tommy, you want to close this out?
Sean, I hope you feel better, buddy. I don't know what else to say. We miss you. Hopefully you'll come out on the other side of this feeling fantastic. We look forward to seeing you here in the future. Everyone else, a little perspective. While the Cubs suck, gamble on every single other baseball game to make yourself feel better, because that's what I've been doing. Be sure to use your Bet Sports app and do that, get it done. If you have to drive there, just do it once, you'll be good to go. Everyone shave your balls with Manscaped. That's about it. Everyone else, have a fantastic rest of your week. Go Bears, go Cubs, go Bulls, go Hawks. Kofi, please stay for a third year. Sean, hit the music.